Hey guys, my name is Gian. Welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. I haven't been able to post any videos for the past 2 weeks or so because I've been feeling sluggish and honestly lazy lately, but I'm back and I have a few videos coming up soon, so watch out for those. Anyways, as you can see, I'm in a different setup because for today, I'll be attempting the 24 hours readathon challenge. Finally! Kasi guys, I was supposed to film this back in April because I was down to the last week of the month and I've read one book out of 5 on my TBR list, which is a no-no, but then my birthday came up and then I had a reading slump, so I haven't read anything since then. But today, I'm very excited for this challenge. Hopefully, I can do a lot of reading and get rid of a few books on my TBR list. So the books that I'll be reading during this readathon would be The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. As you can see, I'm already almost halfway through. I'm at page 139 out of 305, so I can finish this soon. And sinimulan ko siya nung April, but then I put it down kasi nga nagka-reading slump ako. And then the next book would be The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. I'm excited to read this one. And then the third book would be This Mortal Coil by Emily Sovada. And then the last book would be Crooked Kingdom by Lee Bardugo. So that is the last book on the Six of Crows duology. I'll be listening to the audiobook and I have 7 hours or so left. So that is all the books that I'll be reading. And if there's a few hours left after I read them, I'll just pick up another book. So it's already 12 midnight, so I'll start reading and then I'll check in with you guys soon. Just a quick update. It's already 3:16 a.m. and I'm already done with The Queen of Nothing. And my thoughts on this book was that it's really good. I really like it. Out of the 3 books in this series, this would be my favorite because in terms of the characters, there's a lot of growth happening here, especially between the sisters. At first, I didn't really like the relationship between them. I thought that it was weak, it was full of mistrust, betrayals, and they didn't really support each other because each sister wants different things in life. But as the series goes on, you can really see how their bond was strengthened and how they learn to lean on each other, trust, and eventually forgive. Also, I like the direction kung saan napunta yung relationship between Corden and Jude. We started with book 1 where they really hated and despised each other. Then book 2 where they recognized their feelings but there was still trust issues between them. And then on this third book, nakikita natin na they learn to express their feelings already and they learn to communicate. And they grew into their role as good rulers in this kingdom where they pass good judgment and they learn a valuable thing that loyalty and love is a much more stronger force than fear when it comes to ruling your subject. I don't want to say more because this is already the last book, but I'll give this a 5 out of 5. And I almost gave up on this series because between book 1 and book 2, there was a lot of betrayals going on and I don't know if I should continue, but I'm so glad I did because there's a lot of resolution happening in this book as well. The next book that I'll be reading would be The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. This is her recently released novel. I'm very excited to read it, but before I continue on, I'll be having a snack first because I'm pretty hungry. I'll be having Nutella with bread. So yeah. So I'll be taking a short break.
Good morning, you guys. So, I slept for 4 hours. I just couldn't take it anymore. My eyelids were drooping, but I'm awake now. I'm going to start reading in a few minutes. Currently, I'm on page 101 of The Kingdom of Back, and so far I'm loving it. Nasa interesting bit na ako ng book where I get to know more about the Kingdom of Back, which was an imaginary kingdom created by the siblings to entertain themselves during their travel to Vienna to perform for the king and queen. Also, I get to know more about Hyacinth, which was the mysterious guy who showed up promising Nannerl that she'll be immortalized and remembered forever. So yeah, that's all I have to say so far, and it's actually 12 noon already, so I'm gonna eat first, then I'll get back to reading again. So see you guys later.
It's currently 3:07 p.m. and I'm done with my second book. I'll be rating this one 4 out of 5 stars, and overall it's just a beautifully written story. So I'm going to talk about what I like about this book first and what I didn't like afterwards. So first and foremost, I love how the relationship between the siblings were portrayed. I thought that it was very loving, caring, nurturing, and supportive overall. And even though there are sibling rivalry and jealousy here and there, they didn't really let that get in between them. Like, not really. And the second thing that I like about this book was how it highlights some social issues that we have today, like gender equality and women empowerment, which I think is very important and relevant today. And although our situation right now is way better than it was before, it's still happening, it still exists, and I think that it's an issue that we should talk about more often. And in this story, you can tell that the Nerl is very talented. Even Wolfgang admitted that her sister was way more than talented than he was when it comes to composing. But since she's a woman, she wasn't really able to pursue her music, and nothing is really expected of her except marrying good, producing children, and being a good housewife. And I just can't imagine living in a time where society itself puts you into a category or a box and you're just expected to stay there. And that's really what makes this a sad and frustrating read for me, because the talent that just went to waste just because she's a woman, you know. Moving on to the things that I didn't like about this book, the first one is just a minor one, which would be the storyline of Johan, who is sort of like the love interest of Nannerl in this story. They first met in one of her performances, and then they met again by chance in London, where they promised to write each other letters. And then we do get to read 2 of his letters, but after noon, bigla na lang siya nawala. And I know romance is not the main premise of this story, but I would have liked to have a conclusion to their relationship. The second one, which is the main issue for me, would be the fantasy aspect of this book. It didn't really grab me in any way at all. All I remember is that it was a mirror dimension to the real world, and that the trees are upside down. And when the descriptions are that vague, I can't imagine the world in my head, which in fantasy, it's very important to be descriptive to immerse your readers to the story that you're telling. Also, I would have liked to know more about the backstory of Hyacinth, which is our main antagonist. I want to know his motivations, his reasons behind his actions. And yeah, I think that sums up all my thoughts about this book. Overall, I did enjoy the story and I highly recommend it. And if you do have the book, I encourage you to read the author's note. I think it has some interesting points there. I'm gonna read you one paragraph that I like the most, which is, what legacy could Nannerl have left if she'd been given the kind of attention and access that her brother enjoyed? What beautiful creations were lost to us forever because Nannerl was a woman? How many other countless talents have been silenced by history, whether for their gender, race, religion, sexual orientation, or socioeconomic circumstances? And that paragraph was just an eye-opener for me, and it should be for you too. So that would be all. Moving on, I'll be listening to The Crooked Kingdom next. So I'll give you guys an update soon. It's currently 3:36 p.m. and I'm just about to start Crooked Kingdom. I'm starting late because I had some snacks earlier. Also, I actually have 6 hours and 16 minutes left instead of what I mentioned earlier, like 7 hours or so, which I'm really glad of because I'll be able to finish this maybe at around 10, and that leaves me around 2 hours to finish my last book. Hopefully, I get it done. So, in the meantime, I'm gonna be using my speaker because I don't wanna listen through headphones. And then I also have my word search to keep me company and my trusted pastel highlighters. So, yeah, I'll just get started. Hey guys, so currently it's 10:20 p.m. I've already had my dinner and tapos ko na rin yung Crooked Kingdom, which is awesome. Overall, I'll be rating it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's a highly enjoyable read for me. There were no unnecessary romance, no chapter fillers. It was not dragging at all, and it was very fast-paced, which I like. And one question that I kept having is, why is this a duology? Like, why? Can someone explain to me why? Because I could easily see this as a 5 to 7 book series. That's how good it was. But hopefully, Liber Dugo creates more stories surrounding or centering around this universe and these characters because I love them all so much. Anyways, just a random thought. I was very lucky in picking out the books for this readathon because I like them all so far. I only have one book left and sana magustuhan ko rin siya so I could end this readathon with a bang. And I haven't enjoyed reading this much in a long time, so hopefully I can do another readathon in the future. So going back, let me just give you a brief summary of this series. So in the first book, we follow 6 misfits / criminals as they attempt an impossible heist, which is breaking into the ice court, then breaking out the scientists who created Jordaparam. Jordaparam is a drug which enhances a Grisha's ability, but it is so highly addictive that the Grisha loses control over their powers, they go crazy, and then they eventually die. And by the end of this book, we see the crew succeeding on their mission. Now, on the second book, which is Crooked Kingdom, we follow the same crew as they create an elaborate scheme to get back at their employer, which is Van Eck, because he betrayed them and then he kidnapped one of their own people. And he hasn't paid them for the mission that they accomplished. So we follow the story from there, and overall, like what I said earlier, I highly enjoyed it. This series deals with a lot of heavy topics like violence, gang, and so on. But then we have characters like Jasper, Matthias, Nina, who really lightened up the book. There were some scenes that made me laugh out loud, which make the book balance, I think. And also, I'm actually excited to read King of Scars. I don't know if it's a spin-off or a companion, but it centers around Nikolai Lantsov, which is the king of Ravka. And I read somewhere that you have to read this duology first so that you can understand some of the scenes in The King of Scars. I'm not sure if that's true, correct me if I'm wrong, but guess what, guys? It's another duology. Stop with the duology. Sorry. I was just really frustrated that it's a duology. So, anyways, that's pretty much sums up my thought on this book. Final thought? Sana gawin siyang TV series. I don't know if there's talk already about this, but if there were, kindly let me know. I'm very late to this type of news. So moving on to the next and last book that I'll be reading, it would be This Mortal Coil by Emily Savada. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna finish this by midnight, but I'm still going to continue reading this one to compensate for the 4 hours that I slept. So it will still be 24 hours. So I'll see you guys later on for my last update. It's currently 5:16 a.m. and I'm finally done with this Mortal Coil. It took me way longer than I expected to finish it, but I did it. Anyway, let's move on to the review. I know it's already a long video, but please bear with me. We're almost there. So in this story, we follow Katerina Agata, who is a gene hacker, and she's the daughter of a famous geneticist who was kidnapped by the Cartesius organization 2 years ago to help them find a cure for this plague that has brought humanity into the brink of extinction. Then one day, Cole shows up, who is a Cartesius soldier, and informed Agatha that her father is already dead, and he has sent him to protect her and help her find a cure and hopefully release it to the mass population. So this is a very interesting read for me because in this world they have already the technology to recode the DNA, so basically they could alter their appearance and so much more, and they become heavily reliant on it. And then on the other hand, we also have this plague. Now let me explain more about it. So once you get infected, you will eventually blow up and then you become a mist. Now they call it the Hydra Cloud, and once you inhale particles from it, you become infected as well. The only immunity you can get is by eating the flesh of an infected person. So basically, cannibalism. That really got me hooked into this one. It's not for everyone, that's for sure. But if you're into dystopian and unique storylines, then I definitely recommend this one. And also, while you're reading this, mapapansin nyo na parang geneticist yung author because she really goes into such detail when it comes to the technology and how DNA works and other stuff. But she turns it into bite size so that her readers will be able to understand. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming, but what I usually do is I keep reading it over and over until I understand it. That usually works for me. So yeah, I'll definitely be continuing on this series. I want to know what happens next, and I'll be rating it a 5 out of 5 stars. And that concludes my readathon. I've been awake for almost 30 hours and I survived. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, see you on the next video. Bye!